What's up, people? Joe Winko here, your favorite Hawaiian guy, and here's my next episode of Joe Winko Talk. So, what I'm going to be discussing in this episode of Joe Winko Talk, it's another story from my personal life. Well, kinda, not really. But it's another life story of mine, and to be completely honest with everyone, there's this girl on YouTube named Olivia Cara. She inspired me to talk about this. She didn't tell me to talk about this, but she inspired me to talk about this because she's a YouTuber. She posts videos on YouTube, and she discusses like a lot of dangerous stuff she does online or in the social media world, like her Tinder dates that she went on, which kind of went a disaster for her. Some of them have. And with that, she inspired me to make this video. So shout out to Olivia Cara. Cara. My bad. And, now this video, some of the stuff I did in the story is going to make you guys want to say, "Oh, Joe, I can't believe you did that. That was so stupid of you." And yeah, I have made some stupid choices in this story. It all really happened, but I made some stupid choices when all this happened. But don't judge. I know it was stupid now, and that's how you learn stuff. You learn from your mistakes. I have learned from my mistakes. So let me tell you what happened. So I was on, as you all know, I'm kind of like a secluded person. I don't really have like many friends at all. And back in summer of 2015, I just finished my first semester of college, and I was kind of bummed out because I had this long summer ahead of me and it was really nice outside, but I had no one to hang out with at all. Like, no one to get together with and hang out with at all. What I really wanted was someone to make YouTube videos with, to be completely honest, but I'm gonna get to that soon. So I was on this group on Facebook, and it was for like friend making, like for people in my state, people who live in my state, to make friends with each other. And while I was on there, I made friends with this one guy in the group. He added me on Facebook, and this isn't his real name, but in this video, I'm gonna say that his name is Tyson. He sent me a friend request on Facebook. I was 19 years old at the time. I'm 20 right now, but back in summer of 2015, I was 19 years old at the time. And he was 18 years old. And he looked like he was a white man, and he looked like Tara from The Walking Dead. He looked like Tara from The Walking Dead, except he was a guy and his hair was cut really short. Not as short as mine, but his hair was like buzzed short. Not like mine, like he was bald or anything, but it was buzzed short. He had like a buzz cut. And we were talking on Facebook, because the group was for people who wanted to have friends to hang out with and meet up with and get together. We were talking on Facebook, and he was telling me that he was a senior in high school. No, it wasn't exactly summer of 2015. It was more like May of 2015 when this all started. Like late April, May of 2015. Sorry about that. Just wanted to clear that up. He was a senior in high school at the time, and I was finishing up college. And he was telling me that he didn't like high school at all because people were bullying him because they were all saying that he looked like Pee Wee Herman. He kind of did, just a little bit, like his hair kind of did. Well, not even his hair, really. I mean, it was short and black like Pee Wee Herman. And then I googled Pee Wee Herman, and I was typing to him, "Oh, don't listen to them. They're just bullies. You don't look like Pee Wee Herman at all." And then me and him hit it off good, and we started talking and messaging each other on Facebook, because that's how we were talking. I really wanted to call him and talk to him on the phone, because I don't really like texting or typing stuff out very much, because it takes too long. But he didn't have a phone, even though he had a phone number listed on his profile, but I don't know. So, we were talking to each other, and we seemed to get along great, but after a while, he started, after a few days of talking, he started getting weird. Like, he started sending me these mean messages, and he started insulting me, saying that I was an asshole, and he was typing, like, really racist stuff about me and everything. And I don't want to repeat what he was typing, because it was really bad, but he was typing all this mean stuff about me and sending me mean messages and everything. And then I was like, ugh, fine. If you don't want to talk, then that's fine with me. You could have just said something. You didn't have to type in all those mean messages. But I just brushed it off, and I just blocked... Well, I didn't block him, but I unfriended him on Facebook, and I stopped talking to him. But then, later in the summer, like 2 weeks later, or 3 weeks, or 4 weeks later, in June, in like mid-June of 2015... he sent me a friend request again, and he messaged me saying, Joe, I'm sorry about last time. I was just really stressed out. Sorry for typing all that mean stuff to you. And then I told him, it's okay, but what were you stressed out about? You didn't have to type all that. You could have just told me what was bothering you, or just told me that you were stressed out and didn't feel like talking at all. And he never mentioned what he was stressed out about. But eventually I told him about my YouTube channel. Well, my YouTube channel was actually the first thing I told him about, because I was posting about it in the group and everything. And he never really watched any of my videos at all. I knew he wasn't watching them. But I asked him, we should, like, he said he was still open to hanging out. And I said, yeah, we should hang out. And I told him more about my YouTube channel, about the talk videos I do. And I asked him, would you ever want to make a YouTube video or a talk video with me? I think it would be really fun. And I told him I was looking for people to make YouTube videos with and to film talk videos with for YouTube. And he typed in, sure, that would be cool. And then I was like, really? And I was so hyped about it, because it seems like ever since I first started this new channel on YouTube, Winko567, I've been looking for people to make talk videos with and make YouTube videos with, but I never was able to find anyone to this day, really, but oh well. And I was really hyped about that, and I thought it was amazing. I was like, yay, I finally have someone to make YouTube videos with. So I said, we should hang out, and he sent me his address, like right away, sent me his address, where his house was, and I thought it was a little weird for him to just send me his address, even though I never met him or talked to him before. And it just so happened that during that time, my adoptive parents were out of town, and my adoptive parents are usually really strict with, they have a car I can drive, but they only let me use it for work and school. And they're usually incredibly strict on what I do with that car, because they're worried I might take it off somewhere and crash it or get it lost or something. I don't know. And they're usually incredibly strict with the car. But when they're away from home on vacation, they leave the car for me, and I'm allowed to take it anywhere, apparently, as long as I don't run out of gas, which I always try not to do at all, so I never really end up taking it anywhere, even when I'm home alone for some time. And he sent me his address, and he said, Joe, can you come over and hang out with me right now? And then I said, oh, sure, I'd be glad to. So I mapped out where his house was, and I have like a little GPS setting on my phone where I can use my phone as a GPS, and he was quite a distance away. I had to take the interstate to drive to his house, but it wasn't really that far. Like, on the interstate, it was only like, how long? Like, I'd have to say 30 to 25 minutes at most. So he was quite a distance away. So I said, okay, I'll be right over in 30 minutes. So I got my iPod and everything, and my cell phone, and I got in the car, and I wasn't really planning on making a YouTube video that day. I was just planning to hang out with him that day, but I was planning on, like, discussing what our first YouTube video together should be about, or what he wanted to talk about in our first YouTube video. And I probably would have recorded one that day, because I had my iPod with me. I don't know. But then, I got in the car, and I drove out of my neighborhood, got on the interstate. It was early in the morning, like I want to say it was either 8 a.m. or 10 a.m., and I drove down the interstate to the town he lived in. It wasn't that far away. And I found his house. I followed the directions and everything. And I got to his house. So, the street that he lived on, it was in the morning, but it was kind of deserted. It was like a deserted suburban street. Like, none of the houses were abandoned at all. It really wasn't that deserted, because there were people walking around and walking their dogs and taking jogs everywhere. So, it wasn't really deserted. I parked my car on the side of the street, and I got out, and I was looking for his house and everything. And on Street View, it showed me a picture of what his house looked like when I typed in his address. And I walked up to the house, and I wasn't sure if it was accurate, and I was hoping that was his house. So I rang the doorbell, and it didn't look like anyone was home, because the cars were gone, and I thought, well, maybe he's just home by himself. So I rang the doorbell. No one answered for about, it seemed longer, but no one answered for about 5 or 6 minutes. And then I had Wi-Fi on my phone, my Android phone, but it goes really slow, but I'm still able to send Facebook messages on it. And I messaged him on my Android phone, and I said, "Hey Tyson, I'm here. Do you see me at all? Am I at the right house?" And he didn't reply then. So then I was like, that's weird. And I was checking the address, and I was looking at his mailbox, because all the mailboxes on this street had the address numbers on the mailbox, and I was looking at his mailbox. So I was turned away from the door, and I was looking at his mailbox and comparing the numbers, and I said, okay, I had to like double check, and I said, okay, it seems like it's the right number. Right when I turned around, I saw him right away, and he kind of startled me a bit, because he was like dead silence, and he was looking at me like this. Had like almost no emotion on his face. I'm not really sure. I thought he was going to be like, "Joe, you're here! How are you doing, buddy?" But he was more like, well, he was staring at me like this, like that, like with this serious but somewhat agitated look on his face. And the way his house was set up was he had like a screened porch on his house, like a screened porch with like screen walls. And I wasn't on the porch at all. I was standing off the porch in front of the steps, and I looked up at him, and he startled me, and he was like staring down at me, like looking me right in the eye. And it was like sunny out and everything, and the brightness of the sun made his eyes like, he had dark brown eyes, but the sunlight made his eyes look like they were bright orange, like a really bright brown or bright orangish color, and it kind of creeped me out just a little bit, especially with like the serious look he had on his face. And then I said, "Oh, hey Tyson, how are you doing?" And I walked up, opened the door and the screen door to the screen porch. Then we both walked inside of his house, and he had like this really serious look on his face. But once I got up on the screen porch and I was right in front of him, I saw that he wasn't as tall as I was. I'm 6'3". For those of you who don't know, I'm 6'3" tall. He was more like 5'6" or 5'5". He was shorter than I was, but he was like a little bit bulky though, because he was shorter than I was. And I went inside, and like he was like walking backwards, like keeping his eyes on me like this, with the same look on his face. And then I was like, "How are you doing?" And he wasn't replying at all. He was just staring up at me like this, like that the whole entire time. And I thought it was a little weird. And then I was thinking to myself, maybe he's shy, or maybe he's kind of scared because he messaged a stranger on Facebook and let him inside the house. And I was like, "Tyson, are you alright?" And he was just staring up at me, and I said, then I was trying to lighten the mood, and I said, "So, what do you want to do right now? Do you want to go take a walk? It's really nice outside, or we can get in the car and drive to the beach if you want to." And then he was staring up at me like this, and he just shook his head, and it was It was so eerie how he did it, but he looked at me in the eye and he shook his head like this. Like that, like really slow and eerie. And then I said, oh, okay, well, we can do something else then. And I was trying to think of something else we could do, because I didn't think he wanted to leave his house at all. And I said, well, what do you want to do? So I asked him that, and then he just kept staring at me. And then a couple seconds later, he said something, but it was in a really deep or low-pitched voice. The closest thing I can think of to how his voice sounded was, you guys seen my Knifed movies? Not the old ones from 2011, but the new ones from 2013 with the Ghostface actor who sounds like the Ghostface from the real Scream movies. He talked in this deep voice, except it didn't have that like flirty tone to it. It was like a really deep voice and it had an agitated tone. And he was saying this. He was looking me in the eye and going like, I don't want you here right now. And I said, what? But you invited me over. I thought we were going to hang out. And he says, then he said it again. He goes like, I don't want you here right now. Please leave. Get out of my house. He said it exactly like that. And then I was just like, oh, well, okay, I'll see you later. So I just left, got in the car, drove home on the interstate, made it home, and then I just chilled at home for a couple hours, because it was, like I said earlier, it was about like 8 or 9 a.m. when I came over, or more like 10 a.m.-ish, and I was at home for a couple hours, and I just thought it was really weird, and I didn't message him on Facebook, and I didn't unfriend him on Facebook or anything. I didn't even go on Facebook for that time afterwards. But then later, my iPod blew up with messages, and I checked my iPod, and I had all these messages on Facebook from Tyson, and he was telling me, Joe, I'm sorry I sent you home. I told you to go home. I was just in a really bad mood at that time. I'm really sorry. Can you please come over again? We can hang out if you want to. I want to hang out with you. That's what he was typing in. He kept typing in, I want to hang out with you. Can you please come over again? And he sent me his address again, even though I already had it. And I was like, sure, I can come over again. This was like it wasn't nighttime yet, but it was like 2 p.m., 3 p.m. It was still during the day. It was still early in the afternoon, but it was during the afternoon. So I got in the car again, and because I didn't want to stay at home all day by myself, because it was nice out, and I just didn't want to stay in on a nice day like that, because I had no one to hang out with at all. So, but he wanted to hang out with me, so I said, okay, he was being weird at first, but maybe he was just shy or in a bad mood. Maybe he'll be better now and more talkative. So I got in the car, drove out of my neighborhood, got on the interstate, drove through the interstate, finally got to his house, got off the interstate, got to his neighborhood in the town he lived in, finally made my way back to his house. It was still, the road wasn't deserted, there was still a bunch of people walking around, walking their dogs and everything, but it was like a suburban road. Get what I'm saying? Like a suburban road, not a busy one at all. Like a suburban road that a bunch of houses are on. And I got out of the car, parked on the street, same exact place I parked before, had my iPod, not my iPod, but my Android phone with me. I had my iPod Touch too, but I had my Android phone with me. Messaged him on Facebook again, and I said, Tyson, I'm here, do you want to hang out now? And then I knocked on his door. He opened it up right away. This time, he looked even more agitated. Like, his face was kind of red, and he looked kind of pissed off, and I don't know what he was mad about. And I figured he was probably stressed out about something, but he was looking me right in the eye, and I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was trying to think, okay, he's probably pissed off or stressed out about something that has nothing to do with me at all. There still seemed to be no one else at home with him. And I walked inside the house, and he was standing in front of me, facing me, and he had this, like, angry, pissed-off look on his face. and he was looking up at me, because remember, he's shorter than I am. He's 5'6", I'm 6'3", and I was just like, Tyler, are you okay? What's going on? What's wrong? Because he looked really agitated and angry. He didn't say anything, and I was like, Tyson, it's okay if you don't want to talk about it. And I said, do you want to hang out? We can go to the beach or hang out here and play video games together if you want to. I don't really mind at all. And then I will never forget what his voice sounded like. It was all deep and angry, and he was like, he started breathing hard, like, and he was like, he pointed, and he goes like, get out of my house, now. And I was like, Tyson, what's wrong? And because I was worried, and then he said, get out now. And the moment I heard like that deep, stern roar to his voice, he didn't say it that loud, he said it the exact same way I said it, like, get out now. I was just like, okay, I'm leaving. I slowly backed away, walked out, and left. Here's the creepy thing. Walked out to my car. As I was getting into this car, I was like startled by this woman's voice who called at me, and she said, hey! And then I kind of jumped, and I was kind of startled. I turned around and looked at her, and she had like this, I'm trying to say it was a concerned face, but it was kind of like an anger concerned face, like what the hell are you doing face. She was like, man, it was this African American woman. She was standing like a couple feet behind me on the sidewalk, and she was looking right into my eyes, and then she goes like, she points at the house and she goes like, what were you doing in that house? And then I thought that she was thinking that I was like trespassing or robbing the house, and I said, I was just there visiting. And then she says, do you know that boy in that house? She like cut me off right away and asked me, do you know that boy in that house? And I said, well, yeah, that's Tyson. I met him on Facebook. He was in the group on Facebook, and he sent me his address and invited him over, and we were just going to hang out, that's all. And then she said, stay away from that boy and stay away from that house. And I was like, what? Why? And I said, does he actually live there? And because my paranoid autism mind, I thought the house, I don't know why I was thinking this, but I seriously thought the house was abandoned, and that he was trespassing in the house, and he was inviting me over to an abandoned house to hang out with him. I don't understand why I thought that thought came into my head, but then I shrugged it off and I said, no, that can't be the case, that's stupid. And then she said, if you know what's good for you, stay away from that house. That boy is not normal, and you should not be around him. And I was like, oh, well, okay. And then she said, if I were you, I would go home and be very careful. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. And then I climbed in the car, started up the car. She was looking at me the whole entire time, like looking down at me like this the whole entire time, till I drove off. And while I was driving off, and when I stopped at a red light, I turned back and looked at her, and she was looking up at the house like this. She was looking up at his house, Tyson's house, like this. Then I drove home, got on the interstate, drove back to my town, drove back to my neighborhood, got inside my house, and just stayed at my house the rest of the time. And I was actually kind of sad because I had no one to hang out with, like no one else to hang out with at all. And a couple days later, I didn't hear from Tyson at all, but then I heard back from him again, and he said, Joe, I'm sorry for kicking you out. I was just really stressed out. Do you want to hang out with me again? And, you know, the way he was typing everything, it just seemed really weird, because he kept typing, do you want to hang out with me again? Do you want to hang out with me again? Do you want to hang out with me again? Typing the same exact message over and over again and sending it to me again. And then I told him, Tyson, no, I don't want to hang out with you. I've been to your house twice that day, and you sent me home. Hold on one second. And I told him, I've been to your house twice that day, and you kept telling me to go home. You obviously do not want me to go out with you. I mean, you honestly do not want me to hang out with you at all. I don't know what your deal is. Seriously, that's what I typed to him. And then he kept asking me, do you want to hang out with me again? So then I just kind of ignored him, and he kept sending the messages, and there's like an option on Facebook where you don't get notifications when he sends you messages. A couple days later, I checked my messages from Tyson again, and this is when it gets really creepy. I noticed that he kept asking me, do you want to hang out with me? Do you want to hang out with me? When I scrolled through his messages, I saw his most recent messages, and he was typing in, you effing bastard, I want to fucking kill you, I'm going to slice you up, and I'm going to break your ribs, I'm going to bash you in the head, hold you down in a tub, and have you drown. And then he's telling me that he was going to run me over with a tractor, and I was like, what the hell? What the hell is up with this dude? And then he was typing all those mean messages in, and then I was like, that's it, this guy is crazy, I'm blocking him. I blocked him, didn't hear from him for the rest of the summer. Well, not exactly the rest of the summer, but around like mid-August, that all happened in like mid-June, early June, around that time. In mid-August, I got another friend request. Guess who it was from? Tyson. He created a brand new Facebook account and sent me a friend request and telling me, Joe, I'm sorry for those mean messages I sent you. I want to hang out with you. I want to hang out with you. And then I didn't accept his friend request at all, but I was still able to see the messages he was sending me. And I told him, Tyson, go away, get a life, and leave me alone. Seriously, you got some issues. And he kept sending me messages, and then he started sending me hateful messages like, you effing bastard, I wish you were dead, I hate you, you should break your ribs and die. And I was like, oh, come on, not this again. So I blocked him, and trying to think of how many times this has been going on. That was in August of 2015. He did it again in October of 2015. And in last time I heard of him was like the first week of 2016. But I blocked him again. And he wasn't sending me as many messages, but I blocked him again. And I told him to, I got kind of defensive, and I told him to fuck off and leave me alone. Because I can be really cruel and really mean. It may not seem like it, but I can be. Especially on web forums, I don't really do good on those. But when someone's bothering me and messaging me over and over again, I'll tell them straight up, you better leave me the fuck alone, because if you think you're crazy, you haven't met a crazy person yet. I'll show you crazy. That's what I told him. And I blocked him, and I haven't heard from him since the first month of January. And overall, how this affected me was, it kind of hurt my feelings a bit, because I finally thought I had a friend to hang out with for the whole summer and a friend to make YouTube videos with. And to be completely honest, summer of 2015 was pretty lonely. Like, I had no friends to hang out with and make YouTube videos with. I really wanted one to, but I didn't have one to because people are really camera shy, and plus I'm not really that good at keeping friends. Like, I can sit down with someone and have a great conversation with them and make a great acquaintance with them, but making them to be friends with me is kind of harder because of my autism. And as you all know, the moment you type in Joe Winko on Google search, you find a ton of ways to contact me. So that's one thing. It's impossible to lose contact with me because my email is on my YouTube page, it's on my wiki site, you can find me on DeviantArt, you can find me on friendproject, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, all that other stuff. But it's just hard finding me a tangible, oh, that sounds weird, but it seems hard finding myself a tangible friend who I can hang out with, who I can talk about stuff with, who I can show my Sims 2 horror movies to and see their reaction on it, and a friend who I can make YouTube videos with. It seems like no one else is into that. And I can't make that click with anyone at all. Get what I'm saying? So, yeah, it did kind of bring me down a bit. And it also reminded me of my catfish story. The one catfish story that happened in 2014, a year before that. I have that video on my channel. All you have to do is go to YouTube and type in Joe Winko catfish story. You'll find it right away. I recorded it with my crappy webcam camera. I'm not sure why the hell I did that, but that's what I recorded it with. And to be honest, I know a lot of people on my YouTube who are watching this video are going to say, Joe, you shouldn't be posting this video. It's going to provoke him. I'm not afraid of Tyson at all. Seriously, that's not his real name, but I'm not afraid of him at all. The dude is half my size, and he doesn't even know where I live. So, and like I said, I'll show you Psychopath. That's what I told him. Trust me, I am kind of a psychopath, but I'm not a, what word am I looking for? I'm not a malicious psychopath. That's what I meant. God. I hope I'm not freaking you guys out. Plus he lives like way on the other side of town, so yeah, it's really far away. And to be honest with you, the only reason why I really wanted to become friends with him is because when I first started talking to him, he told me that people in his high school didn't like him at all because they thought he was weird and they didn't want to hang out with him at all, and he felt really lonely because he didn't have any friends to spend time with. And I felt bad for him because I know how that feels. People I went to high school with thought I was weird, and they never wanted to hang out with me at all because they thought I was weird. And I thought he was just like me, but apparently he wasn't. He was weird. Well, I am weird too. But he was weird in a messed up and creepy way. I mean, a really cruel and mean and creepy way. So, I don't want to talk to him anymore. I know he's not watching my YouTube videos, because he never really did in the first place. Because he never would talk to me about my YouTube videos at all. And I don't know. I highly doubt he's going to sit through all 30 or 35 minutes of this video. But, you know, I really don't care. Like, as I said earlier, even if he does, I'm not afraid of him, so. Okay. Also, please make sure to subscribe to Olivia Cara. She has a channel on YouTube. You should be able to find her right away, Olivia Cara. And she's also on Twitter, too. So make sure to follow her on Twitter. She's the best, and I love her videos, and I think she's adorable also. So shout out to Olivia Cara. My bad. Or Olivia Cara. That's her name. I'm sorry. And, also, episode 3 of The Rising Dead, it's on its way. I haven't started building it yet, but it is on its... I haven't started filming it yet, but it is on its way. I have all the sets built, and I thought it was going to take me a really long time to build the new set that they go to. But I finally have it done, and it's on its way. And one more thing. So be on the lookout for the next episode of The Rising Dead. I'll let you know as soon as I have it finished. Hopefully you're all following me on Twitter and Facebook, because then you'll know right away. I have the links to those in the description in case you're not. And one more thing. I'm looking for a Sims 2 modder to make my bandana in The Sims 2. I have a video request for that up on YouTube, and I'll probably put it in the comments section or the description, the link to that video request. Because I made requests for it on many different Sims 2 modder request forms, and no one's making it at all. It's like a mesh, an accessory mesh that I need someone to edit, like to reposition and edit and cut something off of it. I'll have the link to that in the description or in the comments or both. So please, if you're a Sims 2 modder, please help me out with that. And thanks so much for everyone who actually sat through this whole episode of Joe Winko Talk. It was a really long one, longer than I thought it would. Well, it wasn't that long, I don't know. And that's it. So don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like me on Facebook, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. So that's it. Peace out, people.